Excellent. Excellent. So kind of along this same thread, around surveys and software, how long are your surveys?
This is Cindy. At GE Healthcare, our relationship surveys are anywhere from, we try to keep them around 5 minutes, and our transactional are anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. They are longer. There's a lot more questions, but they're pretty fast questions.
From the MedRad side, our relationship survey is 4 questions. The transactional range from about 6 to 8 questions.
Okay, interesting. And then and previously, as a follow-up to one of your initial answers, you mentioned it's particularly at MedRad that you have a regional ambassador role at MedRad. Can you give an overview of that role's purpose?
Certainly. We developed in North America a customer ambassador role and actually just launched it in Europe. And the role and responsibility of this individual is to be the champion within a functional group. We noticed that in our field teams some were doing better than others as far as reviewing the data and really taking ownership on a local level. So we got agreement from our leadership team that we would identify a representative, meaning a sales, service, or clinical support person in each zone or country. And that person was responsible for, at regional or zone or country meetings, to be the customer satisfaction person to review trends, review where their zone or country was in relation to the other ones. There's NPS scores, look at trends, and really talk among their peers of what things that they're finding out in the field, and have discussions or role-playing on how they can solve particular issues within their areas. And this has proved to be very helpful in the sense that it's taken away the downloading of data and information from a corporate sense to a very local level where they're internalizing and taking ownership of not only the data but how to better solve and respond to customers. So we're very excited about it. It's done very well, and we try to also reward and recognize these individuals on a regular basis because we feel they're going above and beyond their regular positions as sales or service or clinical support reps.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we've got time for about 2 more questions from the audience, because we want to make sure that we get everybody out of here on time. And as far as the formal part of our interview, that's over. So we've got 2 more questions from the audience. And one of those questions is, how do you determine the number of surveys you need to conduct at your companies?
From the healthcare side, we've had a couple of different approaches to this. If there was compensation tied to the scores in any way, and that has changed a little bit over the last few years, but if there was compensation tied to if there were scores tied to individuals' compensation, then we had to have our targets, our number of surveys based on an acceptable level of margin of error, and in most cases it was 5%. At a kind of a local level, so that the sample size was suitable if somebody was going to be paid or not paid on it. We don't really encourage that so much anymore, to have the scores tied to compensation. So as that has really sort of alleviated across the organization, the targets now are loosely based on install base for a particular piece of equipment in a region or across a business. So it varies, but really it's taken into account, what a suitable sample size might be, especially if you're going to in turn take some action on on those surveys, whether it be the comments or the scores or what have you. But we want it to be an appropriate, sample size.
So this will be the last question that we'll take from the audience, and then I'll step out and let Jan wrap things up. But the question was, is there any, quote, reward for a promoter, for a, and my view here, for a promoter alter, ergo money, certificates, etc.?
This is Cindy. I'll comment on that. We don't have any kind of reward per se for each promoter someone gets, like whoever gets the most promoters, that kind of thing. But what we do have is we have customer loyalty leaders throughout our organization, and they will, on occasion, they will recognize people within their business for going above and beyond for the customer. So I would say that it's it could be tied to the surveys, but it's usually tied more to the actions and the things that they're actually doing to help the customers. And that goes throughout our different functions of our business. So again, we have recognition and sometimes rewards for doing that. We call them customer hero awards.
From the MedRat side, we have some variable compensation tied to net promoter scores for each of our field teams and some of our other customer-facing individuals that are internally based. They are based on the specific, primarily the transactional surveys that they can impact, but partly with the relationships surveys as well. There's certain percentages by each function, which makes most sense. So part of that variable comp is tied to their results, and we have metrics in our software that keeps that track on that. We also have a program where that based on customer direct recognition or their peer recognition, we have quarterly and year-end drawings on a global basis of individuals for various either cash awards or for trips or something of that nature. So we do have those a combination of reward and recognitions.
All right. I think we're out of time, and I want to thank you, Jeannie and Bob and Cindy, taking time out of your busy schedules and sharing this valuable information with us, and our audience also for participating and the questions that you've helped us with. If you have questions that we've not answered or not had time to answer, on the screen you can see Alan at service800.com is where you can send those questions, and we'll follow up with you and continue to answer your questions and do what we can for you. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you again. This is Tico. We'll be wrapping it up, and as I said, we'll be following up with a recorded version of this session, as well as the slide deck from the presentation with answers to the questions. And again, thank you to our panelists for being available and carving time out of their very busy schedule to be with us. Have a great day.